Houston Texans are at home this week, back to the 500 mark after winning 3 of their last 4 to restore a sense of hope for their season.
Right down Broadway, through the heart of Nashville, playoff hopeful Houston Texans will get out of here with a victory.
Their defense, hardest to score on this year, will now really test itself with Buffalo coming to town. Bills' offense coming up boxcars against the Bucs after rolling snake eyes the week before.
It's going to keep it. Josh Allen inside the 5. They're going to push him in. Pay dirt. Touchdown, Bills.
Houston's defense goes from playing Tennessee's offense to Buffalo's. It's almost like having to go from Glass Joe straight to Tyson. Bills bounced back big from that 13-point dud versus Miami, 44 points versus Tampa Bay. They're averaging 29 a game for the year. Josh Allen, a one-man fantasy wrecking machine, over 315 yards passing last week, 3 TDs through the air.
Allen buys time. He's going to toss it downfield. Open man. Caught by Shavers. Touchdown, Bills!
Allen was picked off twice, but he also walked out with a double TD hat trick as he scored 3 times on the ground, along with 40 rush yards.
He might do it again. And does! Touchdown, Bills!
James Cook, the Andre 3000 to Allen's big boy, only 48 rush yards versus the Buccaneers, 3 per run, but he scored through the air, 66 receiving yards.
Delivers downfield, separation, catch made, touchdown, James Cook!
Now they get to see what they can cook up versus Houston's defense, which carried them to another win last week. I know it was the Titans, the lowest scoring offense, and Cam Ward, who has the second lowest rate in the NFL, but they came through as expected, holding them to 13 points. They've held 8 of their 10 opponents under 21 points this season. Their secondary held Ward under 200 yards, just 5.2 per attempt.
Love the hands right here. Hand fighting by Lassiter all over this route by Van Jefferson.
Texans front held Tony Pollard to 22 yards, 2.2 per carry. They've been the 3rd hardest team on Cook's position this year. Gave up 30 yards on 11 per run to Ward, and versus the quarterback spot, they're dead last, giving up 7 a carry to Allen's position.
He's going to get out, and he's going to finally run and pick up a first down.
How does Allen's tackles handle Houston's Will Anderson and Danielle Hunter? Allen, 0 sacks taken versus the Bucs. He only took 1 hit last week. He had taken 3 sacks in each of his previous 2 games. Hunter and Anderson accounted for 2.5 of Houston's 3 sacks of Ward. Danielle, with 1.5, has 5 in his last 2 games now. Anderson has a sack in 5 straight, has 8 for the year.
He is sacked, the ball is out, and it looks like Will Anderson Jr. has the football.
Guys Houston's DBs will tangle with. Allen got Gabe Davis back. Big game Gabe, 40 yards in his return.
Allen will throw on the move and hits his man, Gabe Davis.
Curtis Samuel, 19 yards. Joshua Palmer, 17. Khalil Shakir, 3 targets, -3 yards. Cook had those 66 receiving yards, and fellow running back Ty Johnson scored through the air too, 61 yards, broke a 52-yarder.
Big gain! Ty Johnson takes it all the way! Touchdown!
And the leader week 11, Tyrell Shavers, 90 yards and a touchdown, a career high for the second-year wideout.
Open man! Caught by Shavers! Touchdown, Bills!
So you have a heavyweight bout when Buffalo has the ball, not so much when Houston has the ball. C.J. Stroud out again, so that means it's more Davis Mills this week, who didn't play bad versus Tennessee, but Houston's offense only mustered 16 points versus a Tennessee defense that was giving up over 28 a game. It's the 6th time in 10 games the Texans didn't crack 20. 4 for 13 on 3rd down, 1 for 3 in the red zone.
And incomplete. Dangerous for Jaden Higgins.
So we have a points-challenged offense taking on a Bills defense that gave up 32 points to Tampa Bay after giving up 30 to Miami. Maybe they're just generous to Florida teams?
And he's got his man in stride. Sean Tucker breaks away.
They did have to deal with their own offense giving the ball away 3 times, and they came up with 2 turnovers too, and the secondary Houston's quarterback faces held Baker Mayfield to 173 yards, only 1 touchdown, and they picked him off. Held him to a 72 rating.
Mayfield, step, throw, intercepted. It gets picked off by Bishop.
That brings their season rate allowed down to 83. Mills, he did throw for 274 yards last week, a touchdown, no picks. He's thrown for 270-plus yards back-to-back games, something CJ hasn't accomplished this year.
Snag that out of the air for a first down.
Mills got dropped 4 times by Tennessee, who does have a top 10 pass rush.
Mills hesitated, and he'll be brought down right away at the 42-yard line.
Bills' pass rush has a healthy sack total for 2025, but only sacked Mayfield once, only hit him 3 times. Their DBs only gave up 40-plus yards to 2 Buccaneers, 40 to Emeka Egbuka, 54 to Sterling Shepard. This week, they get Nico Collins, who scored Houston's lone TD versus Tennessee, 92 yards.
Davis Mills, end zone throw, touchdown, Texans, Nico Collins.
That's 75-plus yards and 3 straight for Nico. Xavier Hutchinson, 42 yards.
As this throw is right on target, Xavier Hutchinson.
Dalton Schultz, 51 yards, 50-plus in 5 of his last 6 now.
And that is Schultz picks up a first down.
And Jaden Higgins, 55 yards a week ago. That's a season high.
Loading one. Catch made to the end zone. Jaden Higgins.
Houston's side piece, their rush attack. Woody Marks, 18 attempts last week, 2.4 a carry, 44 yards. Maybe he and or Nick Chubb find some more room to run versus Buffalo. They gave up 2 touchdowns to Sean Tucker, 106 yards on 5.6 a carry, 51 yards allowed to Rashad White on 5.1 a run.
Tucker is going down the sideline, and Tucker is gone!
Bills Texans for the second year in a row. Houston took Buffalo last year, 23-20. We rewound to their first ever meeting in that preview, which Buffalo won. So let's go back to the future and fast forward to the next year when the Texans got their first win over the Mafia. What a points barrage it was, too.
Against the Bills, David Carr was sidelined with a sprained right shoulder in the first quarter. With Carr injured, other players stepped to the forefront. Jamie Sharper led a defense that forced 3 fumbles and held the Bills without a touchdown. Tony Banks filled in capably at quarterback with help from the team's go-to receiver.
Banks drops back in the pocket, throws it left side, caught by Johnson on the slant, breaks the tackle at the 30, the 25-20, the 10-5, and he's in the end zone. Rock and roll, touchdown, Houston. They beat the Buffalo Bills. Houston wins 12-10.